Pickle! Hit the air sign. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. Ooh, it's focused. It's Texas Football Today, a show that's on the first Friday night of the year. There have been other Friday nights, but
no, not really.
This is the first Friday night. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a correspondent website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places. It keeps going kind of fuzzy. Or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the executive producer of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. She's the, what's your title of Texas Football tonight?
Executive producer.
Executive producer of the debuting Texas Football Tonight. She's the Duchess of the Dork. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy. We made it.
Did we?
Not yet. We will make it tonight after we have a successful first show, as I keep telling myself for the past 7 months.
It's going to go great.
It is.
I've been telling you. It's going to be great.
Oh, no. The crew has been amazing. We've prepped our butt off for this show, and it's high school football. How could it go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? It's actually the first thing that's ever gone wrong.
But I will say real fast, here's the graphic just to remind people of when it is.
August 25th. That's today, Pickle.
Let's go. The first Friday night of the 2023 Texas high school football season debuting. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, 7:30 to 10. Stream it for free.
Free everywhere.
On TexanLive.com. Again, this is in partnership with our good friends at the University of North Texas. We have an entirely huge crew of students that are going to be sitting here helping us run this entire operation. So we are very, very excited. Nicholas Laupius, Ishmael Johnson bringing you live coverage from across the state on the desk tonight.
Let's not bury the lead here.
Okay.
TV-ish.
Yes, correct.
TV-ish is the reason to tune in.
Yeah. He will be on the desk all 2.5 hours, bringing you all the analysis that your little heart can handle. We are pumped up about it. And now we can say TV's very own Ishmael Johnson, which I personally am excited about for many reasons.
And coming from an Emmy nominee like you, it means a lot. Mm-hmm. Today is Friday, August 25th, 2023. I'm looking at the Thanksgiving thing is the problem. Friday, August 25th, 2023, 90 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Alexander Skarsgård.
Okay.
Do you know who he is?
I recognize the name.
He's resident. He's a hot guy.
Yeah.
He was in did you watch Succession?
No.
He's a Gojo guy from Succession. Anyway, it's episode 1637. On today's show, folks, we're going to hear from a gentleman who's going to be making his debut tonight. And that is the new head coach of the Burleson Elks as they host Burleson Centennial tonight. It is Chad Worrell in from El Campo and previously of Brock. We will hear from him. And then back up the show, it's Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. You were so kind to send us your questions on Facebook and Twitter, and now we will answer them coming up here at the back half of the program in Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. So we appreciate you spending a little bit of your first Friday night of the year with us. Pickle, Matt Stepp got in his car and drove to Burleson. Now, he lives kind of close to there.
No, he drove from Canada. No, I'm kidding. He didn't.
He lives kind of close to there, but he did drive over to Burleson because he had to get a one-on-one interview with the head coach of the Burleson Elks, Coach Chad Worrell. Here is Matt Stepp's conversation with Burleson head coach Chad Worrell here on Texas Football Today.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas Football here at Burleson High School, here with the new head coach of those Burleson Elks, Coach Chad Worrell, after a nice and cool practice here this afternoon. Coach, how are you doing?
Doing great. It had a little cloud cover and a little breeze out there today.
It was only 104, right?
Yeah, that's almost a cool front now.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the heat first, because that's been dominating the topics around social media and Texas high school football over the past week. It's been a hot summer, no doubt about it. I know high school coaches, athletic trainers taking a lot of precautions. What are you guys doing as far as dealing with the heat, but also making sure you get acclimated to the heat, because you got to play in it Friday night. It's going to be hot Friday night. And also making sure your kids stay hydrated and all that goes into that.
Yeah, I mean, just the common sense stuff of keeping them hydrated and lots of breaks during practice, making water available to them at all times. We've also utilized the mornings for quite a few workouts, like I know most people have, and then in the afternoons at practices, we've shortened them up in the afternoons to try to ease our way into it. School started for us last Wednesday, so we've just been in school for a week, and we had a scrimmage last Thursday, and obviously we haven't had that many days after school having to go out and practice, but the kids have done a good job of acclimating to it.
And can you see that acclimation process taking place throughout the week? As day one maybe it's dragging a little bit, and by day 3, day 4 they've kind of adjusted, because they're kids, they're young, and they're in a lot better shape than us.
Yeah, they adjust quicker, than the older people and the coaches. They do a great job, and like I said, they're out in the summer. Most of them are active during the summer, and so with the way that we do year-round basically training now, we work our kids out during the summers, and they're used to it. They're out in there, and a lot of them go work when they get through a workout, so they're more used to it probably than the coaching staff
and the sports writers for sure, right?
Sports writers and officials and all those people.
All right, now this is a transition year for you. Coming to Burleson this off season from El Campo. Obviously you're familiar with the area from your time at Brock. Changing things up a little bit. You guys are gonna have more of a personality, I would say, of a downhill running team and versus what Burleson did in the past, which was a little more wide open, throw it around. How have the kids adapted to the new schemes? I know you haven't given them the whole playbook yet, but you're kind of spoon feeding them a little bit. How have they adapted, and how did the summer go?
Well, they did a great job, starting in the spring when we got in, started working offense and started kind of installing our offense and defense. And, they've picked it up really well. We're going to have some growing pains there. But, yeah, we want to, just like always, we want to identify as being a physical football team on both sides of the football and establish the run. And I think in terms of our core group of kids, with the returners, I think our strength coming in here is definitely our offensive line with the returning starters and things up front. So we're going to build around that. We're still going to be able to throw the football. These kids have been throwing and catching for the last 3 years. And we're going to continue to build on that and continue to be able to throw the football as well.
You got to be balanced, right? I mean, your personality is going to be running the football, but I know the elite teams you had at Brock did have the ability to throw the football and use the play action pass to their benefit. As you get deeper and deeper, hopefully make those deep playoff runs, you got to be able to put the ball up a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I think that's been one of our bright spots of our 2 scrimmages is we've been able to throw the ball and play action people and things like that, and we're going to continue to pound the ball and play action people and hopefully keep them off balance a little bit.
There you go. Get you centered up there a little bit, Coach. Get that handsome face in the shot. Battle of the Boots this week. It's a big rivalry game with Centennial. You guys aren't in the same district, but I know that doesn't take away from the rivalry, and this happens to be your first game as head coach here at Burleson. What have you heard around town about the rivalry? How big of a game is it?
Well, when my first week I think the day after I actually was hired here officially was the baseball game between Centennial and Burleson High, and so I got to attend that and saw the crowd, and obviously I've heard a lot about it, being here since March, and it's more of a friendly rivalry, I can tell you. Just being in the same community, the kids know each other. A lot of the parents have went to school at maybe Burleson High that now live over there or whatever. So, I would say it's definitely a huge rivalry. We're looking forward to it. It's supposed to be a sellout crowd on Friday, but I think it's more of a friendly rivalry too.
When you look at Centennial, obviously they had a great year last year. Coach Geller does a heck of a job over there. They got a lot of new faces on their roster. They graduated a lot of key players that have been 3-year starters. Still going to be tough. They're going to have that personality. When you looked at their scrimmage film, what kind of ball club you guys going to be up against on Friday night?
Well, you said it. Coach Geller and his staff do a great job. They're well coached, and they do a great job of running the flex ball. They're really physical, and they have some really good athletes there, skill-wise with a lot of speed, and so they're a threat. And they've been throwing the ball as well in the scrimmage that they had, and really trying to establish being able to throw the ball and done a great job at it. Their quarterback's super impressive because he's a dual threat there, and then their receivers are super athletic, but they're well coached. Coach Geller's been nothing but a help for me since I've taken the job. We met right off, and I've leaned on him for some guidance within the district and along with Coach Ozzie. But it's going to be a great atmosphere Friday night, and I think it'll be a good football game.
Defending the flex bone, as from a defensive standpoint, what are the key? What do you have to do well to slow the flex bone down?
It's assignment football. I mean, you have to play assignment football and take care of all, take care of the dive, take care of the quarterback, and take care of the pitch. And it sounds easy when you say that, but then when you get out there and you can't simulate that. That's one thing that over the years of playing the flex bone is the teams who run it well, we've had some experience with that in the past, and it's hard to simulate that in practice. And so being able to adjust to that game speed, being able to adjust to their speed and their quickness up front is going to be key, and then playing assignment football. Defensively,
what do you see from their defense? What do you guys have to do well on the offensive side of the ball to counteract what they do on the defensive side?
A couple of guys back. They've got a defensive end, and they've got I think that they call their joker that is kind of a rover there in the 3-3-5, and man, they're heck of good players. They're middle linebacker. I mean, they're really they get to the ball in a hurry. They play good assignment football. They're well coached on that side of the ball too, and they're physical. And so we're gonna have to take care of our assignments and stay on our blocks. Our backs are gonna have to block for each other and hold on the football and really hopefully take control of the clock. That's been the joke since I got here with Coach Ozzie, is that this game may be over by 9. So
there you go. We'll get it out, and that means that when you get done at 9, you can get something good to eat. So let's talk about that. When you're in town, you're still learning the places to eat. I had a couple of suggestions for you. What are some of your go-to spots here in Burleson?
There's been several, but you recommended Mojo's, and so it's definitely probably top of the list right now.
Brisket tacos, right?
Brisket tacos and brisket nachos.
So I guess if you guys if the Elks win on Friday night, there'd be no better way to celebrate than maybe a plate of brisket tacos from Mojo's.
That sounds like a great idea.
There you go, Coach. Appreciate your time. Good luck on Friday night, and appreciate what you do for student athletes in the state of Texas.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you.
There's Chad Worrell, head coach of the Burleson Elks. Open up their season tonight. Big rivalry game against Burleson Centennial. It's Elks. It's Spartans. It's tonight in Burleson.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the debut of Chad Worrell, head coach of the Burleson Elks. We appreciate his time a little bit earlier this week. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Coming up here in just a little bit, it's Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday, but first, a word from these goods and services.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
I feel like bustin' loose, bustin' loose. Come on, get on up. Oh yeah, get on up. Bustin' loose when you wanna sing. Bustin' loose, baby, do your thing. Talking about bustin' loose, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Pickle, it's that time. Check my watch. It is that time. It's time for Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday.
The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score on award-winning Hondas like the rugged and reliable 2023 Ridgeline. You can stop by your North Texas Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more. That's all off the brain, by the way.
That's off the dome, baby. We are we're changing Mailbag Friday to solicit questions early on social media. So follow us on social media on Facebook and on Twitter specifically. We'll probably put it on Instagram too. But if you got questions, let them comment on those posts so that we can get your questions in. But that is that's how we're going to do Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday moving forward. Just gives us a little bit more control over the timing of it and we can control the question flow a little bit. But so if you got questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, you can get them in on social media ahead of Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. I have a question about Hondas.
Okay.
You keep saying the 2023 Ridgeline, an excellent vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the things I've never understood is like the car years on.
Yeah, because they start promoting the 24. They're probably
like, can you buy a 24 right now?
Probably. Maybe not in August, but definitely by like October.
Yeah, like when is that? Like I do not know the car manufacturing calendar.
Yeah, that's a good question. My guess would be at the end of September, early October. Probably October. Feels
I bet we
right.
could call our friends at Honda and they could tell us.
That's
like they're
true.
smart. They would let us know.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. What questions did we get from the people?
Let's head down to a matchup between the Coastal Bend and the Super Syntax, and we'll go with what do you think about Corpus Christi Vets versus New Braunfels Canyon?
Yeah, it is a really intriguing matchup because it's kind of our first look at a new-look Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial team. This is a team that, of course, won their region last year, 5A Division I Region 4. That's off the dome. But they are going to be different this year. Coach Ben Bittner's squad is going to be different. They only bring back 9 starters, and they lose, I think, their most important player, which was Elijah Durrett. their quarterback, who is so important to what they do. And they lose 6 starters off of what was a very good defense. Now, Christian Sapsuk's back. Luke Johnson's back. They've got playmakers that are back. This is an intriguing first matchup for them. Bless you.
Thank
You good? It's an intriguing first matchup for them, taking on a New Braunfels Canyon team that probably has some things to prove, I think. It's first year for Coach Nate Leonard. We talked to him in the offseason. So I think there's questions about what a Nate Leonard coached Cougars team is going to look like. They do bring back a fair amount from last year's playoff team, but remember, this is the program that lost their quarterback, Deuce Adams, and Eli Adams, his brother, both transferred to Austin Vandegrift in the offseason when his dad took a job on the Vandegrift staff. Their dad, I should say, took a job on the Vandegrift staff.
Yeah, that was a big
Yeah,
factor
he
from
was-
a player's side.
I mean, he was so. That's a
factor.
3,000-yard rush or passer. You know what I mean? That's a true game changer. So this is a fascinating early look at two teams. We have a fair amount of, I think, relatively well-established questions about who has answered those better. I think that Vets is your favorite, especially being at home, because New Braunfels Canyon's got to go all the way down to the coast for this game. I think that's
a long drive.
That's a
too.
long drive. So I think the advantage has got to be on the Canyons. I'm sorry, on the Vets side. But again, there's so many different questions, and both replacing a quarterback that can easily be made up. My early feel is Vets, especially at home.
Yep.
But I would say that Canyon, if they've answered a lot of questions and if they can all kind of buy in behind Coach Leonard, then I think that they've certainly got an opportunity to win this game.
I think
like
that
Vets, though.
second quarter will be super telling because
Okay.
the first quarter of any game on the first week is
Oh.
always just shaky.
It's
You know,
all-
everyone's got to knock off the rust. You got to
It's
settle
all-
your emotions.
The first quarter of the year is always
It's ugly football.
It's- it's fueled by pea and vinegar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so this
It's
one,
just-
this one is a normal game. I would be saying, oh, well, to be able to tell a lot in the first quarter.
Yeah,
I'm gonna push that back to in the last 5 minutes of the second half or in the first half.
I'm gonna
we
give
should
this-
have
I'm
an
gonna give this-
actual feel for this game.
I'm going to give this line to Ish for tonight, but basically, the first quarter of the season is like the vibes quarter.
Yeah.
It's just all vibes. It's just like we're just going out there
Adrenaline.
having fun. Exactly right. Like we're actually playing football.
It's big.
Uh,
I'm just happy to be here.
Big
energy.
happy to be here energy. Exactly. So I do like Vets, but that is a really intriguing matchup.
That also, it's funny because it also goes for us as people that are in and
Mm-hmm.
around the TV world or the writing world of the first quarter. It's just I'm just happy to be here.
Oh yeah, I think so. All right, what is next, Ashley?
What is the most consequential game in week 1?
Ooh, very intriguing. There's a couple that come to mind to begin with. One of them, I think, is Anna and Decatur. Anna and Decatur is really interesting because Anna had such a fantastic year last year, but they have to replace Evan Bullock, their quarterback. They have to replace Breezy Dubar, their running back. They have a lot of star power positions to uphold. The other thing about Anna is that they don't, and I mean this respectfully, they don't have that history that we can say, oh, this is, I'm knocking over my community coffee cup. They don't have that history of saying, oh, this is just what Anna does. Last year was the first time in a long time where they really spiked.
Yeah, I had someone in my DMs last year telling me I was dumb for saying this was an anomaly for Anna because it happened 70 years ago,
Bro.
and I was like,
Bro.
my guy.
Dude, that was their first 10-win season since 1981.
I was like, my guy, I was not even close to being born yet.
I wasn't born.
And that's not a
That's not a
it has
knock.
to be a recency thing. That's a thing that it's been over 3 decades.
Exactly. So
Like-
so I think for Anna against Decatur, a certified top 10 team,
Yes.
they can go out there and prove that they have replaced the pieces that they lost and that they are not a flash in the pan.
And
they are
I was
here
gonna
to
say
stay.
they've got their second year under Coach Steve Huff now too,
Uh,
so that's
oh,
a
yeah,
huge
Decatur.
thing. Decatur
Absolutely. Because on the Decatur side, they're a program that has the superstar back, right? They've got Nate Palmer back at the running back spot. They have some holes to fill around him and the second year under Steve Huff. I think there's a lot of expectations on Decatur right now. I think there's a lot of expectations on Decatur to make that run. You could really take the air out of the tires with a loss in week 1. I think Anna and Decatur has a lot of consequences coming out of week 1. I would also say another game that I think is really consequential is Austin Westlake and Fort Bend Ridgepoint. Westlake goes on the road to Fort Bend to take on Ridgepoint, and a lot of new faces for Westlake. They bring back Jack Kaiser, the running back, but they got to replace. Like they're settling in on a quarterback. They lose Jaden Greathouse. They lose a lot of that defense from last year's team. Going up against
Colton Vosick,
he was gone.
last
Yeah,
year?
he's gone. A lot of the star power on that defense is gone. But of course, you've got Tony Salazar, first year, is now in his second year as head coach, going up against a Fort Bend Ridgepoint team that I think feels like they're on the precipice of something big, and feels like this would be a real feather in their cap if they were to knock off a name brand program like Westlake in week 1. So that's a really consequential game as well. I mentioned it on the on the picks video, but I also think Cibolo Steele and Brennan is really consequential in the San Antonio landscape as well.
I've got one more too that I think is going under the radar, and this might just be personal interest of mine to see, but I think Denton Ryan New Braunfels has a lot of implications, and it's not necessarily from the New Braunfels side, but from Denton Ryan. Denton Ryan had an uncharacteristic year last year. They still have Dave Hennigan. They still have all of the pieces that has made Ryan a perennial powerhouse for so long. If they go and not only are just snake bitten by New Braunfels, but if they go drop the first game of the season again, I'm going to start having some serious questions about Denton Ryan.
I entirely agree. I think this is an important week 1 game for Dave Hennigan and company there with Ryan to kind of reestablish themselves and say, last year was an anomaly. That is not our standard. We are still the powerhouse that we've always been.
Which, real fast, as we announced yesterday on Women Talking Football, Denton Ryan, New Braunfels, and Lake Travis.
Or Westlake.
No, Westlake. No, not Westlake. The first one you said.
Decatur and Anna.
Decatur and Anna are spotlight games on Texas football tonight. So we're going to be cycling through those games. So make sure to tune into those.
All right, I think we got one more from the peeps.
Let's go with what impact will the Heat have on the games in week 1?
Okay. Well, first of all, check your local listings on when the game is kicking off, if you're going to a game. I know that you guys have been scrambling at Texas Football Tonight to adjust for kickoffs. The Bally Sports Southwest game is Ennis and Waxahachie. That's been shoved back half an hour to 7:30. So that's one thing. There's a tangible thing of like games are being moved back to get out of the heat. That's part 1. Part 2 is that I think you will see not much. You will see fewer smaller schools beating bigger schools because I think the weather and the heat is going to expose depth differences quicker.
That's a good point.
Normally when I think about depth, I think about the fourth quarter. Okay, I think you could really start seeing that in the third quarter. Like the entire second half is when the depth becomes a real issue for 5As playing against 6As or 4As playing against 5As or whatever it may be. I think that is a real advantage for the bigger schools with the better depth.
Yep.
So, for example, one game that we've got our eye on is Hitchcock and Refugio. Big game. 3A against a 2A, right? 3A against 2A. Hitchcock.
Two classifications.
Yeah. 3A D1 against 2A D1. I liked Hitchcock in the beginning. When you take into account the heat, I think that gives them a little bit even more of an edge over a smaller Refugio team, not smaller size-wise, but smaller depth-wise.
Numbers-wise.
And I think the depth is what you're going to notice. So don't be surprised. It would not be a surprise to see teams pull away more quickly in the second half, if that makes sense.
I cannot even imagine the amount of conversation around hydration this week from coaches prepping for this game. If you were not starting to hydrate excessively on Monday, you're 3 days behind.
You know what they say, hydrate or dihydrate.
That is a phrase.
And that is Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Chad Worrell of Burleson for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Remember tonight, Texas Football Tonight, TexanLive.com, 7:30 to 10. We will see you Monday on Texas Football Today.